Hello everyone and welcome to Houma, Louisiana, right along the bayous where we are for this afternoon's SFL action between the Louisiana Revolution and the Fort Worth Toros. I'm Jack Brown and alongside me here today is Stephen Molinak. Stephen, both these teams lost their week 1 matchups, so now they're looking to get their first win of the season in week 2, and someone's got to get the win.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jack. You know, the last time these two teams met, it came down to the final 5 seconds with the Toros scoring on 4th down at the Louisiana 2-yard line to take the go-ahead lead and ultimately still a victory out of Stacked Up Stadium. Now, both of these teams enter week 2 without a win and are hoping to change that this afternoon, like you said. But in their previous matchup, it was a battle on the ground, with both running backs combining for over 300 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. Last week, neither of these running backs broke the century mark. Jack, that could be the key to victory in this key week 2 matchup.
Yeah, and of course, we have 2 premier running backs out here. Jason Williams for the Fort Worth Toros and Reggie Streeter looking to go for 75 all-time rushing touchdowns in his career, making him just the 10th running back to do so if he is able to reach that milestone.
Yeah, we should see a lot of fireworks, not necessarily through the air in this game, but on the ground. That being said, Louisiana does have the #1 passing offense in the SFL here early in the season.
Well, all that now comes to a head. The ball is on the tee here in Houma, and we're just moments away from the kickoff of this week 2 clash. Ball is away as we feel it around the 5 for the Toros, going to be taken up to around the 24-yard line, and that is where Cameron Curtis and company are going to set up shop.
Well, Cameron Curtis yet to score his first touchdown in the SFL. Obviously, the rookie quarterback just started last week, but did not see a passing touchdown there against the Queen City. They lost 17-14, scored both of those touchdowns on the ground.
Yeah, and they scored both those in the first half, taking a 14-0 lead for halftime in that last week's game. Cameron Curtis is going to drop back to throw, going to find his man on the flats, and he gets hit hard. But that is a first down either way for the tight end, Robert Garrett Jr.
And I don't know how he squeezed that ball in there. Robert Garrett Jr. was absolutely blanketed by the defensive back. Defensive back running the route better than Garrett did, but Curtis able to squeeze that ball into a very, very tight window.
1st and 10 once more, ball on the 34-yard line. Short drop for Curtis. Gonna throw it out to the flat to Williams, and Williams tries to go forward, and he's not gonna gain anything. No gain, no loss on that play.
And the Toros like to get Jason Williams involved in the passing game. 5 receptions for 25 yards in their previous matchup. But they're just really spreading out from the line. You see the tight ends squeak out there trying to get a quick cheap yard, They actually go to the running back instead.
And they're going to be a handoff right up the middle to Williams, and Williams is going to get about 2 yards on that run, bringing up 3rd and 8.
Williams last week, 18 carries, 70 yards, averaging 3.9 yards per carry here on 3rd and 8. I'm going to bet they're going to go into the air, Jack.
That looks like that's what they're going to do. Only one man in the backfield is going to be offset for him. Short drop by Cameron Curtis. Throws over the middle, goes with the very risky throw, and that's going to fall to the ground. Incomplete, 4th down.
Yeah, and that's surprising, going to the 3rd tight end option there in Austin Carpenter. You've got 2 star tight ends on this team. Perfectly lobbed pass by Curtis, but the role-playing tight end can't bring it in.
So now it's 4th down. We're going to be seeing our first punt of the game by the Toros. Ball's right where it needs to be, and the kick is going to be a long, booming kick. Fielded at around the 25-yard line. Going to be taken up by about 3 yards. And that's where Johnny Pickler is going to be setting up for his first drive of the game.
And Pickler leads the SFL right now in passing yards, 409 against Vancouver. Wasn't enough to win that ball game, but certainly went to the air a lot. 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Was also sacked 4 times, Jack. So something to look for here.
And well, their first play for the Revolution is going to be through the skies for Johnny Pickler and company. Low snap, Goes to the flat, and he finds his man, able to make it work, gains 6 yards.
Yeah, interesting. Probably trying to throw off Fort Worth a little bit here by on their first offensive play. You take away your arguably your best offensive weapon in Reggie Streeter. You take him off the field and go 4 wide.
Yeah, but they were able to make it work. B.E. Robo, man on the grab. 2nd and 4, going to be only Streeter in the backfield. 3 wide, 2 to the bottom, 1 to the top. Short, or actually deep drop for Johnny Pickler. Going to throw it once again, and he's got another catch. Back-to-back throws for the Revolution and back-to-back catches. It's been a pretty good first couple plays.
Yeah, and look, I think that goes credit to the offensive coordinator. It's a perfect play call, and Garrison Blue, the tight end, the very talented tight end, actually gets to get open there on the mid-out route there, and nobody was covering him.
Split back is the formation here. Short drop by Pickler. Pickler throwing it over the middle, and he's able to make it work once again for another 6-yard gain.
That's pretty clear what they want to do here. They think they can beat the Toros through the air, and so far they are torching this defense. Now, we've seen this, Jack, over and over again. We see these offenses come out strong, and then the defenses tighten up. They also have Reggie Streeter back there if things get tough.
Yeah, they're coming out on the offset eye. They're once again going to throw it. Deep drop for Johnny Pickler. Pickler able to barely avoid getting sacked, but not able to make it work. Going to bring up 3rd down and 4.
Oh, man, Jack, if he had only had just his offensive line had given him just a millisecond more, that was going to be a touchdown. He had a guy wide open down the field, streaking down the field, just couldn't get it off in time.
But credit goes to Joey Schwint for putting on the pressure. So far, Louisiana, despite only having 3 completions, they've all been to unique receivers. The only man who's not gotten involved so far is Mike Twinscrew. Short drop for Pickler, and Pickler throws it, and he's going to get the first down. A rather uncharacteristic offense for the Revolution, and just as I say his name, Mike Twinscrew makes his first reception for the day.
Yeah, again, I think this just comes down to scouting. You know, they've scouted this Toros defense. They think that they have an advantage to the passing game. Clearly, the numbers say they can pass the ball, and so far, they have been.
Flip back is going to be the first handoff to Streeter for the day, and Streeter gets blocked at the line. They're going to say he even lost a yard.
Well, as I mentioned before, you know, Reggie Streeter and Jason Williams combined for over 300 yards the last time these two teams played. Streeter actually had a really great day, 175 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. Wasn't enough to beat the Toros there in the final seconds. But like I said, it might be key to the game to get Streeter going.
And they're going to hand it off to Streeter once again. Streeter gets blown up at the line for back-to-back plays. Adam Leach on the tackle there for the Toros.
Well, just like it's clear what Louisiana wants to do against Fort Worth, what the Toros defense wants to do against Louisiana is just as clear. They want to stop Reggie Streeter and make Pickler win it through his arm alone.
And, well, they're going to try and go for the skies for this one. Snaps right where it needs to be for Pickler, and Pickler is going down. The Fort Worth defensive line showing that they've come to play. Gary Marks ceasing the means of the offense's production.
Yeah, and this defensive line, he slowly through that series started to dominate more and more and more and getting penetration. And there, Marks just whips right by his guy with a swim move. Didn't have a chance, and Pickler doesn't have enough time in the pocket.
So now Louisiana out to punt. Going to be a nearly blocked kick, and Fort Worth going to field it and take control of the ball at their own 19-yard line. Nice punt by the Revolution. Get to set up the Toros in not optimal field position.
Jack, it's starting to feel a little like deja vu here. These two teams in their previous matchup, they had this similar back and forth all the way again to the final seconds of the game. It looks like this might be another exciting one between these two teams.
So it's a split back, 2 wide for the Toros. Handoff to Williams, and Williams going to barrel through for 4 yards. What a great run.
The Toros making a bit more of a commitment here early to try and get Jason Williams going, you know, where we saw Louisiana really try to spread the ball out through the passing game. Weren't too successful with Streeter. On this other side here, a little bit more balanced, and we're seeing Williams starting to heat up a little bit.
2nd and 6. And it's going to be a short drop for Cameron Curtis. Curtis throwing it down to Williams. Williams with the spin move. Able to get a yard, but he was going to lose 2 or 3. That spin move saved it.
Yeah, Jack, you're absolutely right. I thought he was going to get stopped behind the line of scrimmage there. Really, the quarterback not doing his running back any favors as he had 3 defenders right in front of him. But that's where the abilities of these terrific running backs here in the SFL takes over.
Short drop once again from Curtis. Curtis going over the middle. Able to make that work. What a throw. What a catch. That's not something that you expect to see every day around these parts. Catch made by Robert Garrett Jr.
Yeah, and that's just an all 90 all slants play there where it just sends the tight end, one of the most talented tight ends here in the SFL, down the middle of the field. And you know what? It's hard to defend.
So once again, it's 1st and 10. Ball on their own 36-yard line. Gonna hand it off to Williams again, and Williams got room to run. Gonna gain 5 yards.
Yeah, and he gained those 5 yards without getting touched. A really great job by this offensive line. Gave him a massive hole right in the middle of the O-line, right at the line of scrimmage, allowed him to go untouched and make this a very manageable 2nd and 5.
Same formation as before. Worked for them so well last time. Let's see what they can do with it this time. Hand off to Williams, and Williams gets laid out at the line of scrimmage. That is not something that's going to work every time.
Yeah, and that's Blake B. Craze, and boy, was he crazy on that tackle. You know, they teach you defensively not to try to meet the offender there in the tackle, but to go through them. And we saw a spear there.
Yeah, you got to aim 5 yards down the field. Curtis is going to drop back, throws it into a really, just a hole that did not exist. Going to bring up 4th and 5.
That was Anthony Wyo there, got his hands on it. Probably should have brought that one down, but just a terrific individual play to knock that ball down. But yeah, as you said, that was close. Curtis almost turned that ball over, and it's going to be a punt.
Yeah, Wyo, the journeyman, spent his last couple of seasons over in Arizona, came over to Louisiana in the offseason. And now in comes the punting unit for Fort Worth. Decent kick. Got it down to around the 20-yard line. Going to take it up to the 23, and that's where Johnny Pickler is going to set up shop once again.
Well, it's been a defensive battle earlier. We've seen some early success by both of these offenses, but these drives have stalled. You've got to believe that here at some point someone's going to break through and take a hold of this game.
So 1st and 10, offset I for the Revolution. Hand off to Streeter, and Streeter's going to run right through the middle. Dang near killed a man in the front 7, gained 7 yards. That's a classic Streeter run.
Yeah, it is, and that burst, you know, that Streeter burst right into a power move. You'd almost think that he was going to break all 3 of those tackles because of just how quickly he got to them and how powerful that man is.
So now it's 2nd and 3, going to hand off to Streeter once again, and Streeter falls forward, and they're not going to say he got the first down. Tackle made by number 21, Ben Stone, the free safety.
Well, he was reaching out there. It could be argued that maybe they should challenge this, but if you got a guy like Reggie Streeter in the backfield, 3rd and inches, should be all day, every day, especially for the amount of money that you're paying him.
Well, they're coming out in the I form. They got the blocking there for Streeter if they hand it off to him. That's exactly what they're going to do. Hand off to Streeter, and Streeter's got the first down and a few yards to boot for that gain security. Gary Marks with his 2nd tackle on the day.
And a good job by Streeter staying patient, following his block, not trying to do too much, get too fancy. Just follow his block in past the first down line. Make sure you get this first down to give your offense another shot.
So once again, handoff to Streeter on the bit of a delay handoff, going to gain 3 yards. Not a bad run.
Well, Jack, this offense just started out heavy passing here for Louisiana. Now they're going heavy rush. It's almost like they're testing this defense to see what works and what doesn't, and to try and take advantage of those disadvantages.
Split back under center for the Louisiana Revolution. Once again, a handoff to Streeter, and Streeter just got annihilated in the backfield. That Fort Worth defender was not going to let him go anywhere. David Horrell on the tackle.
Yeah, and Horrell really did a great job. It looked like to me a play action. Quarterback did a great job of what looked like was going to be a fake, but hands it off. Horrell not fooled.
It's going to be a nice short drop for Pickler, and Pickler gets the grab over the middle. Going to bring up first down and 10 once more for the Revolution. Catch made by Garrison Blue.
Yeah, and this is again these slant routes. We've seen both of these teams' offense take advantage of these in third down situations. Just hard to defend, sending all those players to the middle of the field. Pickler has time to find the receiver that he likes, the one that he believes is the most wide open, and he gets that first down.
Able to get the work done, and that's all you really need out of an offense. About a play or two remaining in the first quarter. This will be one of them. Pickler in the shotgun, throwing over the middle, and that one was nearly picked off. A very risky throw, and his receiver just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, and actually they sent two receivers into the same area, which is always dangerous because you expect both of those receivers to be covered by defensive players. In this case, it was E.K. Vincent, the outside linebacker, able to get in between the two.
So it's 2nd and 10 now. Split back under center. Hand off to Streeter. And Streeter, he's got a hole. Nearly tried to spin around the defender once again, but that one was not going to go through.
Yeah, those fancy moves are great for the highlight reel, but not necessarily in that situation where probably Streeter would have done better to just power forward instead of spinning right into a defender.
Yeah, that was Delaney Nash, not fooled at all on the tackle. 3rd and 4 now. Short drop for the Revolution, and up through the air. Tried to make a highlight reel grab. That was Mike Twinscrew, but is not able to go through. That'll bring us to the end of the first quarter here in Houma, Louisiana. We are still deadlocked at 0 apiece. Second quarter about to get underway here in Houma, Louisiana. The Revolution now have the opportunity to pin the Toros deep, basically on their goal line with a good punt. High kick. Gonna take a Revolution bounce about the 10. Gonna make a bounce out again. And the Toros are gonna set up shop at the 8-yard line.
Well, nice job there by the Revolution special teams. Able to really a great kick that kind of died as soon as it hit the ground. Didn't go out of bounds like I expected it to. Got them nailed there at the 8-yard line near Fort Worth. Now in the shadow of their own goalpost.
Yeah, no matter what, that's still a decent punt for all intents and purposes. Handoff to Williams to the outside, and Williams nearly sheds a defender, but it only gains 5 yards on the run.
Now these two offenses have turned much more to what we saw in their first matchup, which is heavy in the run game. Obviously here, field position kind of deems that Fort Worth needs to run the ball a little bit here. Don't want to interception for a pick six.
Woo. And they're going to hand off once again to Williams. And despite only meeting once before, these two teams are playing like they're longtime rivals with how big these hits are.
Totally agree with you on that. This is highly competitive. It's getting spicy down there on the field. These two teams, they don't like each other.
And that's exactly what you want to see to a certain extent. 3rd and 1. Playbook is wide open, basically, if you're the Toros. And Cameron Curtis is going to throw over the middle. And the Louisiana Revolution able to get just a hand in there. It's all you need. Blake Craze once again showing his presence on the field.
Yeah, and look at the break on the ball right there. Almost had an opportunity to maybe pick that off, but clearly wanted to bat the ball down. Tired of seeing these slant routes going for over and over again for first downs. Does something about it there. Terrific job. And you know what? What's even better is that now Louisiana has given their offense an opportunity here with great field position, possibly.
So now Ray Einhorn out to punt the ball. And the kick is going to be a nice sky-high boot. Fair caught at midfield. Borderline perfect field position if you are Johnny Pickler. And now let's see if he can take advantage of what the defense has done for him.
Yeah, their best field position as of yet right here at midfield. Now an opportunity here. We've seen the offense be able to push the ball a little bit here, move between the 20s. Now they need to try to get themselves into scoring range at least.
Under center split back is the call for Pickler. Short drop, throwing it over the middle, and that was thrown into possibly triple, maybe even quadruple coverage.
Yeah, that was playing with fire right there. And the quick drop by Pickler means that he needs to get rid of that ball very quickly and throws it in an area where you mentioned triple coverage there. And actually, one of the defenders might have even stopped his the receiver's route a little bit. Could have been a flag there, but wasn't.
So it's 2nd and 10. Ball still on midfield. Short drop, throwing deep, and that one's going to be thrown a bit too long. Pickler, this drive, the first one was a little bit too risky. The second one was just overthrown.
Yeah, and again, I think one of those route disruptions. But let me say this point, with Sicario there, he has a right to go for the ball as well. So he's going for the ball. If in his efforts to go for the ball that he interrupts that route, that's where we see some of those overthrows like that right there.
3rd and 10. Nobody in the backfield for the Revolution. Low snap for Pickler. Got all day to throw, and that was going to be tipped and incomplete. The Fort Worth defense able to save what could have been a disastrous situation.
A terrific play there by rookie free safety Blake Prine. Their one-on-one, Pickler had all day, as you mentioned, to throw. Picks a receiver on the mid-out route, hoping he can do something to get to the first down marker. But Prine, the rookie, with an excellent play to knock that one down.
Punt high, and now it's going to be bounced at around the 5. That one's just going to go right into the end zone. Fort Worth sets up shop at their own 20-yard line. A little bit better than what they had last time, but they now have to get something going on offense.
Well, look, the Toros defense really, I think, saved them right there from Louisiana getting their first points on the board and really trying to take advantage of this home field advantage that they have. But this has just been a terrific defensive battle back and forth. And if you love defense, you're loving this game.
Yeah, if you're a fan of that old Big Ten 3 yards in a cloud of dust, this is exactly the game for you. Cameron Curtis, short drop, throws it to the sideline to Williams, and Williams gains about 4 yards. Oh, no, that's Coco.
Yeah, Percoco, the rookie 6'7" tight end out of Salt Lake City. Just, good to hear her name come up here after having 3 receptions for 22 yards in her debut game here in the SFL. And a nice little way to get the tight end involved and get you a nice 2nd and 6.
Deep drop for Curtis, and Curtis throws quick over the middle. A little bit too quick of a throw. I don't think Percoco was really in her rhythm at that point.
Well, I don't think that the quarterback did her any favors by leaving her hanging out in the middle of the field to get hit like that. Tough to bring in that ball knowing the big hit is coming.
Yeah, so now it's going to be 3rd and 6. Offset eye. Jason Williams and Chris Kamzak back in the backfield. Short drop. Throwing over to Williams, and Williams charges forward, but gets held up at the 29-yard line. The Louisiana Revolution defense going tit for tat with the Fort Worth defense, and we have ourselves a defensive showdown.
Yeah, and it's just getting better and better, and they are just. It seems like these defenses are getting better and better, and I wouldn't be surprised if we have 2 eggs going into halftime.
Long punt can be fielded at around the 39. Going to take the knee. And now Johnny Pickler hoping to break this defensive stranglehold that these two teams have had on each other. Should be an interesting drive.
Well, so far, Pickler 5 of 11 for 43 yards, and completing just under 50% of his passes here. So a lot of short dink and dunks. I can't wait to see him uncork that arm and get something long.
Split back, 3 wide, gonna hand it off to Streeter, and Streeter gonna lose a few yards. Almost broke away from it, but unfortunately it just won't work. David Hoyle on the tackle, and with that, he's eclipsed 100 career tackles.
Well, congratulations, David, there. And look, you're asking a lot of your superstar running back to try to break tackles in the backfield as soon as he gets the ball.
Yes, Pickler gonna throw it now to the flat, gains about 5 yards. Not a bad throw at all. Sets up a 3rd and 6.
Well, Chase Earl on that 50X spot, that play, what it does, it basically runs the receiver in like a slant route and then back out as an out route. That shakes the defender, leaving him wide open. Expect to see more of that play because it was successful.
And Pickler, once again, empty backfield. Interesting call by the Revolution. Going to throw deep, and it is tipped away. Going for the 50-50 throw to Mike Twinscrew, and it just doesn't go. 4th and 6.
Well, you see that the accuracy was there. That was what I was calling for in this drive. Something deep. Twinscrew there just goes off on a fade route, and they just going, like you said, 50-50 ball, speed on speed. Let's see who comes down with it. Nobody does.
So now it's 4th down. Once again, the Revolution bring out their punt unit. Kick is away. Going to be fielded at around the 20 or 15-yard line. Taking up to the 20. So Fort Worth, once again, setting up shop for their 20.
Yeah, and like we've mentioned before here, a little bit more balanced approach here for Fort Worth. Cameron Curtis, 5 of 9, averaging 3 yards a pass. Another kind of a dink and dunk type situation there so far. Love to see them air it out just a little bit.
So it's going to be the offset I first off, primarily a running formation.
Mm-hmm.
Short drop from Curtis. Throws caught. Gain of 4 yards. Lauren Prococo being a little bit quiet the first quarter, but now she's come alive.
Yeah, she's had her number called 3 times, able to bring in 2 of those catches. But very conservative game plan so far for both of these teams. I think they kind of learned their lesson from week 1 and their previous matchup.
Once again, handoff to Williams, and Williams gains 4 yards. Back to your point there, Steven, yeah, these two teams are playing it extremely conservatively against each other. You can't necessarily blame them for that.
No.
So, yeah, it may also be they're just trying to wear down the defense now in the first half, so the second half they can get a little bit more going.
Well, we often see that where in the second half, the offensive fireworks start to explode a little bit more.
Yep. 3rd and 2, Curtis, and that one's going to be picked off. What a pick right at the line, right at the spot. Tank Bennett with the interception. What a grab.
Well, don't call it a comeback because he's been here for years. Tank Bennett, 6-year veteran here, making the savvy play, getting in front of it. But look, it all starts with the defensive line getting penetration on Cam Curtis, able to make him throw that duck of a ball, right? Quack, quack, right into the hands of the defender.
Gonna bring up 1st down now. Louisiana within the Fort Worth 40. Short drop from Pickler. Gonna be another short throw over the middle. Gonna gain about 5 or 6 yards. Catch made by Chase Earl.
Well, shout out to this Toro secondary. Look, they're just not giving Pickler anything deep. He's surely sending his receivers deep, but he's forcing him to go to those underneath throws and settle for 5 yards. 2nd and 5, they'll usually take that every time.
Yeah, Fort Worth has a loaded secondary, 3 corners with 2 free safeties. Handoff to Streeter. Streeter's got room to the outside, gets the first down, and he's going to get about a yard or 2 more. And if he was able to truck through that one man, he would have been gone.
And look at the speed he gets. Reggie Streeter has to navigate a lot of traffic in front of him, breaks to the outside, able to get that burst to the outside and make a play to get that first down.
Split back, 2 wide to the top, 1 wide to the bottom for the Revolution. Hand off to Streeter once again. Streeter going right up the middle. Shows that he had room. Gains 8 yards on that run alone.
Well, give the big uglies up front a lot of credit for once again cracking that hole in the middle of the offensive line, and the fullback coming in and blocking 2 defenders to give Reggie Streeter just that extra 2 or 3 yards there at the end.
That's exactly what you need. You just need that clearance, and Reggie Streeter can just do magical things he's shown for the past many seasons that he's been in this league. 2nd and 2 now. First time that a team's been in the red zone today, and Streeter spins around multiple times. Streeter with 10 yards on the run. 1st and goal for the Revolution.
Wow, danger, danger. Will Robinson, Fort Worth, you better watch out. Reggie Streeter is starting to heat up, and that is not good for you. As Streeter here breaking out the spin moves after powering through the offensive line. You're just getting that sense now that Streeter is wanting to take over this game, and Pickler in this offense will be happy to let him do so.
Yeah, at this point, seems to be that we're entering the Reggie Streeter show, and everyone else just along for the ride. Once again, it's going to be a handoff to Streeter to the outside. Streeter! Touchdown! And with that, Reggie Streeter gets his 75th career touchdown, just the 10th player in SFL history to reach such a milestone.
Congratulations, Mr. Streeter, and here, untouched, absolutely untouched because of not only his great blocking in front of him, but terrific vision to once again navigate through all of that traffic and find pay dirt.
And now Matt Fennick out to attempt the extra point. What a drive by the Revolution, able to take advantage of the Tank Bennett interception and get those points off turnovers. In every SFL game, that is so invaluable. Kick is up and it's going to be through. As I said, it's the value of points off turnovers in this league. It cannot be understated.
Yeah, and that drive, as you mentioned, 5 plays, 37 yards, 32 of those yards on the ground via Streeter. He now has 50 yards in this game on 13 carries, and certainly in line to receive a lot more.
So now the Revolution kick is underway. Going to be fielded at right in the end zone. Taken out past the 10, past the 20. Going to take it up to about the 25-yard line. And now, if you're Fort Worth, if you're Cam Curtis, how do you reset after something like that, where you just threw a pick that went back eventually for a touch?
I would say this, that you have to have a very short memory as a quarterback, and you have to push through that. But I wouldn't change the game plan at this point. I would still make it a balanced offense. No reason to push here, just down 7.
Short drop for Cameron Curtis, and it's going to be thrown to the sideline. 2nd down and 5 for the Toros. Catch made by Stephen Hacker.
Well, I think part of this conservative game plan by Fort Worth is to try and build the confidence of their young quarterback under center. Obviously, as we see there on the screen, really low quarterback rating, only 37 yards, and that 1 interception that you mentioned. But these short plays give him an opportunity to build on his accuracy, build on his confidence. Maybe that'll pay off later in the game.
Handoff, going to go right up the middle. Going to gain about a yard or 2, Jason Williams. Going to set up 3rd and 3.
Let me see the difference here in run styles here. As Jason Williams, the former fullback, more prone to get in between the tackles there. Not that he doesn't have the speed to go outside, but certainly they want to power him up there.
Well, they also have fullback too, Chris Komisak, but they're going to go through the air. Throws it to Williams, and Williams gets the first down. Nearly was tackled behind the line. Talk about being able to make something out of nothing.
Well, we talked about his power and him being a former fullback, and perfectly on display there. Is able to power through that tackle for a first down. That had a danger of landing before the marker. Jason Williams would not allow it.
So now it's 1st and 10. Handoff on the delayed handoff to Williams. Williams utterly destroyed at the line of scrimmage. They're gonna have to send him to the. Oh man.
Well, you know what? Those delays and those delayed handoffs there, they can sometimes just give a defender like Chuck Diesel there just more time to get to him.
Yeah, coming in like a diesel train, and Cam Curtis throws it short. I don't even know if he got anything out of that to Lauren Percoco.
Yeah, I think just barely there, but we're starting to feel like Curtis is starting to maybe see some ghosts out there, feeling the pressure, try to get rid of that ball very, very quickly, despite a defender being all over Percoco.
So now it's 3rd and 7, and here in Homa, it's been electric, and it's going to be a simple drop. Pass is intended for Cade Stevens.
Well, Cade Stevens ran a route right into the defender, and it was kind of a bang-bang play right there. Couldn't bring the ball in, and now Fort Worth kind of puts themselves in a perilous situation with just over 2 minutes left in the second quarter. They cannot allow Louisiana to get another score on the board and go into halftime with a big lead.
Low snap, nearly blocked. Fielded at around the 30, and it's gonna be fumbled. And who picked that up? It's gonna be Fort Worth. Fort Worth ball at the 29-yard line.
Special teams comes away again with a great play. This one could possibly get them and should get them back into this ball game. Not like they were out much anyway, 7-0, but you needed something to happen in this game outside of your defense playing so well, and they get the spark from the special teams unit.
Yeah, you were talking about how the defense was the ones who needed to probably make the stand for Fort Worth. Nuh-uh. It was the special teams unit.
Right.
So it's 1st and 10 now. Ball within Louisiana's 30. Handoff to Williams, and Williams is going to get blown up right at the line of scrimmage. 2nd down and 10.
Well, that has not stopped the momentum that has been happening here for Louisiana. They're feeling it. Their defense is feeling it after Reggie Streeter able to come alive and come out with a touchdown, give them the early lead here at home. Feeling it here at Stack Up Stadium and trying to stop this momentum the Toros are trying to get started.
And it's going to be a shotgun throw from Cam Curtis to the outside. Gains 8 yards, and that's going to bring us to the 2-minute warning. Louisiana up 7-0 over the Toros, but the Toros are knocking on the door of some points. Don't go anywhere, folks. This is the SFL on Twitch. Coming hot off the 2-minute warning, you're watching the SFL on Twitch. I'm Jack Brown alongside Steven Molnex. 3rd and 2 for the Toros. This is possibly the biggest play of the game for them.
So far.
Short drop from Curtis. Curtis going over the middle. That one's going to be caught for a 1st down. Thought that one was tipped up and fell incomplete, but no. Able to make it work is Robert Garrett Jr.
Boys in the truck, we need to re-see that one. I'm not exactly sure what happened. It looked like the ball bounced off a defender right into Robert Garrett Jr.'s hands. Wow, that is a big play and a crucial moment in this game.
So now it's 1st and 10. Ball on the Louisiana 12. Handoff to Williams. Williams spins around. Gains 4 yards. He was like, oh, I like what you do there, Reggie Streeter, with your little spins. You know, I'm going to do my own spins, and I'm going to gain some good yards.
Well, I think he's more showing me up. He must have heard what I said about him being a former fullback and using more power there. Shows the agility of some of the finesse backs here in this league. And Williams is saying, you know what, I can do it too.
So now it's 2nd and 5. Short drop from Cameron Curtis. Curtis throws it over the middle. A little bit desperate for his first throwing touchdown in the SFL. And, well, you can't just be doing stuff like that.
Well, Blake Craze, let's give him a lot of credit here. Dissects this play immediately, knows exactly where the ball's going, and a perfect break on the ball. My goodness, gets that big mid up there, boy. You almost think he might have been able to pull that one for a pick six if he would have got his hands over it, because he was just so in front of that ball and knew exactly where the young quarterback was going to throw.
Yeah, he's been always able throughout this game to get one hand up there, but he has not been able to get two up there to catch the ball yet. We'll see if that comes into play later. Short drop from Cameron Curtis. Curtis throws, and that one's going to fall to the ground. Louisiana's defense holds. Pass intended for Robert Garrett Jr. A play that would have almost certainly taken him over 2,000 career receiving yards. Now Taco Sicario out to attempt the field goal.
Well, you're good to get points here. The momentum is going to help you going into halftime, but this is the ups and downs that comes with having a young quarterback under center there. Clearly shouldn't have thrown that ball in triple coverage, just trying to make something happen.
Low snap, but the kick is away, and it's going to be through for three. Fort Worth has now made this a ball game once again. Taco Sicario able to come in, kicks the chip shot field goal, and now if the defense can hold for Fort Worth, things will be looking pretty good.
Yeah, I think, based on what we saw, where this game was going here late in the second quarter, it looked like Louisiana had an opportunity to really take stranglehold of this game. But special teams comes through in the very last moments here for Fort Worth to really make this a lot closer. And like as you said, better for what's going to happen there in the locker room. Maybe the locker room speech won't be as full of profanity as it would have been.
You never really know. We don't really have we don't have locker room mics.
And
Score
for good
update
reason.
from over in the United Kingdom. Yes. Score update from over in the United Kingdom. The London Knights have kicked a field goal, making it a 1-point game over on For the Fans. 7-6, Mexico City leads. 50 seconds remaining in the half here in Homa. Handoff to Streeter, and Streeter nearly broke away one of his signature massive runs for a touchdown, but only gets around 5 yards.
Well, you may think by running the ball, Louisiana just wants to run this clock out and go into halftime with the lead. But when you have a guy like Reggie Streeter in the backfield, that can be an instant scoring play. It could be just a terrific option, but they are letting this clock wind down.
Yeah, possibly just one final snap before we head to the half. Handoff to Streeter once again. Streeter works to the outside, loses a yard, but that will bring us to halftime here in Louisiana. The Revolution are currently up on the Toros, 7-3 after 2 quarters of play. After a defensive struggle, 2 quick scores by these two squads, and it's an intense ball game.
Yeah, it absolutely is. A big defensive really matchup here, and I think we've seen both of these early games here in the SFL, including Mexico and London. They are a defensive matchup as well. As we see the numbers here, not a lot of offense being generated. Time of possession is about equal, and so are the turnovers. So really a really great head-to-head defensive matchup here. The last 2 drives for Fort Worth only had 37 offensive yards. Special teams off the fumble had 32 alone. So it kind of gives you an idea of how these offenses have been stifled by these terrific defensive performances. But as we talked about earlier in this game, as you see that duck, quack, quack, there on that interception that you like so much, Jack, that here in the second half, we see a tendency of these defenses to get more and more tired. And a guy like that right there, Reggie Streeter, starting to heat up. Expect him to do some awesome things in the second half, as that Toros defense is going to be struggle to keep him caged likely. And on the other side for the Toros offense, they got to get their young quarterback under control. They got to make him feel comfortable. Maybe take some shots down the field, Jack, and of course keep Jason Williams involved.
Yeah, you got to build up your confidence in your young quarterback, especially for a guy like Cameron Curtis, now going 6 quarters without scoring a touchdown. Not the longest, of course, by a rookie quarterback, but you still got to get him confident. Maybe lean a little bit more into that passing game, safe short passes to establish some more confidence in the lad. But Louisiana's going to be the one to get the ball to start this second half. The kick is, and we are underway for the second half here from Homa. Gonna be taken out now past the 20-yard line up to the 22-yard line. First down and 10 for the Revolution.
Toro special teams unit come out on fire once again. They have been the saving grace here for the Toros. And we're going to need to see somebody here on offense make a play. Could be right now.
So first and 10, short drop from Pickler. Pickler going over the middle now. It's going to be caught for the first down, mimicking basically the first play of the game.
Yeah, and again, we're seeing, again, on a play, we see multiple receivers in the same area, really clumping the defenders in there. But there, Mike Twinscrew just makes a great individual play to bring that ball in.
First and 10 now once again. Pickler going for the same formation that he did last time off. Said I with him under center, 3 wide. Handoff to Streeter, and Streeter spins around a man who's trying to tackle him in the backfield and gain about 3 yards.
Oh, that's when you know that he's feeling the gumbo right there. When he starts to make those kind of plays in the backfield, you got to believe he's going to start making those kind of plays past the line of scrimmage, past the first down marker, past the end zone at some point.
Well, you can't exactly be doing spins in the end zone now, Steven. You've already scored.
Why not? Why not celebrate a little bit?
True, true. Short drop back from Johnny Pickler, throwing out to the flat. Going to gain nothing, lose nothing. And that's going to bring up 3rd and 7.
We haven't talked about their week 1 matchup, but Louisiana goes into Vancouver and loses 45-34 in a really exciting game. Louisiana's defense threw for 409 passing yards. We're seeing a little bit more balance here, but Pickler's going to let this one fly.
That they are, throwing it deep towards the corner, and that was not going to go. Intended for Mike Twinscrew. He's been their deep threat. He's been targeted a lot. However, unfortunately, not a lot's been going. He's been targeted so far 6 times today. Only has 2 receptions.
Yeah, and against Vancouver, 7 receptions for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. Critical to their offense, but just hasn't been able to bring the ball down today.
So now out comes the punt unit. High snap. Kick is away. It's going to be fair caught right at the 30. Fort Worth knows the risk of trying to run out a punt.
Cam Curtis now coming back onto the field. 11 of 19 so far in this game. 57% completion. And no touchdowns, 1 interception. So we've talked about the 6'8" young quarterback phenom here. Still needs getting his feet wet here in the SFL. Needs to calm down a little bit and use some of that natural talent and just start playing football out there.
It's going to be a handoff to Jason Williams, and Williams is going to barrel through the defenders, gains 8 yards on the run. Excellent.
Jack, if you were a defender out there and you saw number 34 coming at you, boy, that'd be like seeing a freight train and you're standing on the tracks. Just want to get out of its way if possible, but you're getting a paycheck to stop it, so do what you can do. You know.
Hey, I've stopped players 850 times now, Steven, so I think I know what I'm doing on that front. Short drop by Cameron Curtis over the middle, caught, taken up to the 49-yard line.
Yeah, the nice little slant route. Again, I think the Toros are just being really conservative, really careful with their young quarterback. Don't want to put him in bad positions. Want to get his receivers wide open like they do here with the tight end that goes Robert Garrett Jr. right down the middle with the slant route. Once again, it seems to be almost like comfort food for quarterbacks, those slant routes. Just makes it a wide open window, a big target there as a tight end for your 6'8" big quarterback.
Single back formation is the call. Deep drop by Cameron Curtis, throwing over to Williams, and Williams is going to gain a few yards. Add a spin in there. It's going to be 3 yards.
Jack, we've talked a lot about Curtis being 6'8" as a quarterback, able to see over the offensive line, obviously better than anybody else here in the SFL, but he's only 1 inch shorter than LeBron James and ties the tallest player ever there in the NFL, Dan McGuire.
Throwing it deep over the middle is Cam Curtis, and using the ability to see over his offensive lineman. He saw that one right over the middle. Steven Hacker with the big grab.
And again, they take advantage of the slant route here, and look how much separation that Hacker is able to get. I mean, that's just helping out your young quarterback so much right there, making the easy throw, building that confidence. And you know what? They are dotting themselves down the field.
So now it's 1st and 10. Fort Worth is driving. Handoff to Williams, and Williams gets to the outside, and Williams got room to run. Williams tries to spin around, and Williams is only going to get 8 yards.
Well, Williams is a kind of back that's built like a tank, really. Like, it looks to blow up defenders and delivers a blow without giving up much ground. So, he's always going to try and fall forward. That probably should have only gained 6 yards. Him falling forward with that power gave him 8.
Under center once again for Cameron Curtis. Going to be a handoff once again to Williams. What a hit by Chuck Diesel, coming in like a diesel locomotive and just blowing up the play.
Yeah, full bore right down the middle. Knew exactly where to go. Put his head down, speared Williams. Not many players can put Williams down like that.
3rd and 1. They're going to hand it off to Williams again. And is Williams going to get it? No, they're not going to give it to him. And now you kind of almost have to ask the question of, do you play it safe, go for the field goal, or could you possibly even try and go for it?
I don't know. I think I'd take the points here, but they're bringing the offense on the field now. Could this be a fake out? Will they get those extra inches? You got Jason Williams back there. Why not go for it?
And you have a fullback too. Going with the hard count. And the Revolution remains studious. And that's going to cost Fort Worth a very valuable timeout.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jack. And great discipline there by Louisiana's defensive line. And well, now the coach having some words with Curtis. Perhaps the quarterback didn't know what the play was or was supposed to run that. I'm not sure. But at 6'8", you think that he could just lean the ball over and get those 4th and inches. Instead, they're going to settle for a field goal try here.
And now going from 6'8" to the mighty mini in Taco Sicario. Out to attempt the field goal, going to be about 40 yards. Kick is up, and it is through. 41-yard field goal, and that's going to bring us to within 1 here in Louisiana.
Nice job there by Taco. Not only has the leg, but the compass to get this one through the uprights and make it just a 1-point game.
Fort Worth overall has more scoring drives than Louisiana so far, but Louisiana has the one that counts, and they're up 7-6 with 5:39 remaining in the 3rd. Kick is away, and it's going to be fielded in the goal of Louisiana, taking it up past the 10 to about the 22-yard line. That's where they're going to set up shop.
Well, going back to that previous drive, Fort Worth, really their best drive of the game, I think. 8 plays, 45 yards with that field goal, making it a 7-6 game. So Fort Worth's offense starting to feel it, starting to come alive a little bit, and boy, do they need it.
So now Pickler, feeling the pressure on him, going to be in under center split back, hand off to Streeter, and Streeter's got room to run. Streeter probably deflected himself off like 5 or 6 guys, gets the first down.
Oh, Jack had a case of the Santa Claus there. Ho, ho, ho. Every time he made a play, every time he spun, it was like, is this going to be one of those that we're going to see on the highlight reels for years here in the SFL? It nearly was. Breaking multiple tacklers, spinning with power and speed. My goodness, Reggie Streeter, his career encompassed in one play.
Yeah, just spinning all over the place, able to turn what was going to be a maybe 1-yard run into a 10-yard run. Short drop for Pickler, and it's going to be thrown caught, able to thread the needle. What a throw and grab. This Revolution offense, while they've only seen the end zone once, they've certainly put together those plays on the field that are dang good.
Well, Jack, is there any question that we are in the era of the tight end here in the SFL? I mean, we see more on the field now than ever. There, Garrison Blue able to come away with this, but it's really no wonder because of the popularity of slant routes, because of what such big targets these tight ends make. We're seeing a tight end revolution here in this league.
Yeah, especially when you get all that big value for low money. Handoff to Streeter, and Streeter, if he hadn't been met by around a group of 5 or 6 guys, he probably would have broken that one away.
Well, look, you know what? You can only hold back this stallion of a horse for so long. And this guy is already starting to show signs here of wanting to dominate this game. And that's great for Louisiana. They only have a 1-point lead. But remember, maybe almost as important as the scoreboard is that clock. And as long as they can keep running that clock, they can keep Fort Worth's offense off the field.
Yeah, if they can keep bleeding clock like they have been doing pretty well this drive, they should be fine. Handoff to Streeter once again, and Streeter's going to get the first down and a few yards on top of that.
81 yards here so far, hoping to crack the century mark. Wasn't able to do so in his previous game. Got 26 carries, but was limited by Vancouver to only 73 yards, averaging 2.8 yards per carry. Clearly something different happening here in this game.
And interestingly enough, maybe Streeter was just kind of tired out, but they're coming in the empty set. Throwing it deep is Johnny Pickler to twin screw. And a very risky throw was very underthrown. Nearly picked off.
And they just keep going to twin screw, hoping that he can make a play against multiple defenders. And we just haven't seen it happen tonight. You know, a great opportunity there on first down. Why not shoot for the moon, try to go and get a really quick score? And I love the thought process. They just, the Toros defense covered it perfectly.
2nd and 10 now. Short drop for Pickler. Pickler throwing it deep once again to twin screw. And back-to-back throws for twin screw. Actually, no, that was for B.E. Robo that time. And it seems to be that whenever Louisiana tries to go for these long bomb plays, they just aren't working out.
Yeah, there's a disconnect that is happening either because of the defensive effort or just between Pickler and his receivers. Anything deep so far, they just haven't seemed to be on the same page.
Empty backfield once again. They're going to try for the air again. Pickler pumps it, throws it deep once again, and that one's going to be picked off. You could have seen that all day becoming a pick. Aiden Davis, the man who spent his first year in Houston, now spent 2 seasons in Fort Worth. What a grab.
Well, Aiden Davis, as you mentioned, the 4th-year cornerback, able to lay out and make a terrific athletic play to bring that in. You know, that's why you want those big 6'3", 6'4" cornerbacks to make plays exactly like that.
2 men in the backfield for the Toros. That's going to be a pass thrown down to Percoco, and Percoco gains 3 yards.
Once again, we talked about their previous matchup. Actually, the only time these two teams have ever met back in season 15, it came down to the final 5 seconds of the game. Fort Worth beating Louisiana in their house right here in Stack Up Stadium, 31-28. It has a feeling of that same kind of deal.
And they're going to hand it off this time to the fullback, Chris Kamazak, and Chris Kamazak not going to gain anything. Blake Craze once again proving that, well, his name does have a point.
Well, and you know what? This linebacker core of Craze and Diesel have absolutely dominated this game when the Toros offense has been on the field. They haven't let up much.
Short drop once again from Cameron Curtis, and Curtis sheds a defender, not going to shed 2 as he's going to go down. The Louisiana front 7 has single-handedly carried this team and kept this game as close as it has been.
Yeah, Napoli there with the sack. You know, he registered 7 sacks last season, able to get his first here on the year, and what a terrific time to do so, giving Louisiana an opportunity to continue to try and build on their lead.
Gonna run it forward a little bit, and they're gonna take. And now Louisiana's gonna set up shop at their own 46-yard line. Once again, very good field position for the Revolution. If they can make good with this, then they'll be up by 2 scores.
I don't know about you, Jack, but for me, it's Reggie Streeter time. You know, Pickler's tried to go deep a few times, hasn't worked out, but we've seen Reggie Streeter continue to build and build on that momentum, breaking tackle after tackle. I'm giving it to old number 34 here.
Well, they're coming out in the split back, typically a passing formation. They're going to hand it off on the draw play to Streeter, and Streeter spins around a man, nearly spins around 2, and only gets around 8 yards, already near the century mark for the day.
The feeling that everybody else is playing checkers and Streeter's playing chess out there. It's just an entirely another level when he gets the ball, and when he's in this kind of mode, it's like nothing else that you see in the SFL.
Once again, they're going to hand off to Streeter, and Streeter gets blown up well behind the line, going to set up a 3rd and 7, and that's going to mean that Louisiana most likely is going to have to take to the sky E.K. Vincent on the tackle.
Well, my apologies to E.K. Vincent. Clearly, he does have an antidote for what Streeter brings. And look, I'm a huge fan of E.K. Vincent. Used to be on my Dallas teams back in the day. This guy might be the best coverage linebacker in the NFL, in the SFL.
It's going to be another short drop for the Revolution, and the Revolution finally able to get something downfield that works in the passing game. Chase Earl with a magnificent grab.
Yeah, that's a name we have not heard enough in this game, Jack. He had 15, let me repeat that, 15 receptions for 158 yards in his week 1 matchup against Vancouver. And this is a guy that has been underutilized in this game.
Assuming the clock keeps moving as it is, we should only be seeing about another play or 2 in this 3rd quarter. Short drop for Pickler. Once again, finds his man towards the outside. Gains 5 yards on the throw, and they're going to say that he was out of bounds.
Well, twin screw there. Took advantage of a defender who was out in the area, but the defender seemed to stop and not see the ball coming, which gave twin screw that little bit of separation that he needed to bring that one in and to make this a 2nd and 5.
Now Pickler once again goes under center. Gonna hand it off to Streeter once again, and Streeter once more blown up in the backfield. It seems to be that the Fort Worth front 7 has figured out the cure to the Streeter, I guess to the Streeter virus in a way.
Streeter virus, I like it. Yeah, you know what? It helps to get early penetration and to get 3 defenders behind the line of scrimmage before you even get the ball.
3rd and 6. And the Revs are going to take to the sky, and Pickler throwing another risky one to Twin Screw. Or actually, no, that was to B.E. Robo. Sorry, folks, but that's going to bring us to the 4th quarter. Get your 4s up in chat, folks. This game is nowhere near over. 7-6, narrowly in favor of the Louisiana Revolution. You know, something funny to note before we kickstart the 4th quarter here, Steven. The over-under that was made for this game is 71.5 points. If anyone out there was choosing the under, well, they better be feeling pretty happy about themselves right now, eh?
Yeah, you need to go on the stock market there and grab you some stocks, because it might be in your favor if you're getting that, because this one is a low scoring game.
So now there goes the punt, going to be run right into the end zone, and Fort Worth sets up at their own 20. So now Cameron Curtis, still without his first touchdown. I mean, overall, the 2 quarterbacks have not been having quite the day that you'd be hoping for for people of their caliber. But now they're going to take the first play, hand it off to Williams, and they're going to gain 2 yards.
Well, honestly, the game has been so close that, they haven't really had to divert their game plans one way or the other. So basically what they came into the game with to just following that same conservative game plan until they have to bust out the more unconservative or more risky boom or bust play. So neither one of these teams offensively anyway have stretched it too much, although, Louisiana has thrown some deep balls.
As Cameron Curtis throws it deep, and they're able to get the grab! Oh my goodness! You were just talking about boomer bust plays. I think that's the definition of one.
And Robert Garrett Jr., it comes from the big tight end. I didn't think this pass had a chance of making it through the defense, but Garrett Jr. picks it from the blue hands there of the defender, picks it away. Terrific concentration, and what a confidence boost for the young Curtis.
Yeah, and Robert Garrett Jr. with that one overtakes the 2,000 career receiving yards mark. Congratulations to Robert Garrett Jr. And what a way to do it. And another deep throw for Cameron Curtis. That one, not going to go over quite as well, but hey, you know what? You feel a little bit more confident in yourself, you may as well start flinging the ball all over.
That's what I was thinking too, man. He got that first one. It felt good to him. Why not just do it again?
Yep. Score update from over in the United Kingdom. 21-9 is the score in favor of the Mexico City Aztecs. The exact same amount of scoring drives for the two teams. However, Mexico City was able to make them into touchdowns, while London has only gotten field goals. 2nd and 10. Short drop from Cameron Curtis, and able to thread the needle again. Going to get the first down.
Yeah, and again, it's Robert Garrett Jr. The connection between these two growing, as you can feel that this might be a combo that we're talking about for seasons and seasons to come here. Curtis to Garrett Jr. could be like Tony Romo to Jason Witten.
Yeah, and so far, Garrett, the only receiver with over 100 receiving yards on the day, and once again, over the middle, the Toros able to get something cooking. Throw caught by Stephen Hacker.
Well, this Toros offense has made a commitment early on to be very conservative to protect their quarterback. Now it's starting to pay dividends as his confidence is sky high and growing every second. And we're seeing the results here. 1st and goal at the Louisiana 4, and an opportunity, really the first opportunity, Jack, for Fort Worth to score a touchdown.
Cam Curtis going under center with both Williams and Kamazak right behind him. Hand off to Williams. Williams gets blown up at the line. The Revolution defense, they may be bending right now, but they're saying we ain't going to break anytime soon.
Yeah, and actually that was the fullback, Kamazak, trying to, they're on 1st down, a little trickery there instead of handing it off to Williams, which they would typically do probably, trying to switch it up, give it to Kamazak, not able to do it.
Short drop from Cameron Curtis, and Curtis is going to fumble the ball. Who's going to come up with it? The Toros do, narrowly avoiding disaster, and you could almost argue that this actually improves the situation a little bit, gets to open up the playbook.
Yeah, Louisiana celebrating almost there like they had the ball, but Fort Worth lucky to get away with that one. Oh, boy, I hope that doesn't shake the confidence of what we've seen grow here from this young passer.
3rd and goal now, ball on the Louisiana 8-yard line. Short drop by Cameron Curtis, going to throw it, makes a man miss, going to juke around. 4th and goal, but barring any freak accidents, the Toros are going to take the lead with this kick coming in from Taco Sicario.
Well, Curtis laid the ball a little bit behind Percoco and put her in an awkward position there, able to really dodge one defender that probably should have brought her down, but couldn't shake the other two, and now we have an opportunity for a field goal to take the lead.
Low snap, kick is away, and it is through for 3. The Toros are now in the lead of this game, 9-7, with 7 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the game. Don't go anywhere, folks. This game is still anyone's for the taking.
You're absolutely right, Jack. And boy, you know how much everybody loves offensive fireworks and offensive games. This defensive game, I would argue, has been as exciting as any one of those offensive games you'd love to watch.
Yeah, just a defensive struggle between these two squads. And now Johnny Pickler playing behind for the first time in a while today. And now you got to kind of ask yourself, what is he going to do? What is the game plan now that you're down? Granted, it's only down by 1 score.
Well, what I know about Johnny Pickler is he loves these big moments. He lives for these big moments. That being said, Reggie Streeter should still be a big part of the game plan.
Short drop for Pickler, and Pickler throws it over to Streeter, and Streeter loses a yard on the reception.
Yeah, that's just basically a throwaway there. The ball came so late that Streeter was already headed out of bounds, and his momentum led him that way. Essentially, that's just a throwaway and an opportunity here on 2nd and 11 to continue this drive.
So now it's 2nd and 11. Split back. Gonna be a handoff to Streeter once again. Streeter's got room up the middle, and Streeter able to turn that into a first down.
And almost willed himself to a first down, Jack. Look at this push. Obviously, great blocking. The offensive line absolutely blows up the Toros defensive line. So much so, I don't think I saw a defensive lineman on the screen. That's how much they blew up the middle of that line. But a Streeter at the end with that power over the first down mark.
They were absolutely banished to the shadow realm, one could say, on that play. Handoff to Streeter once again, and Streeter's going to gain a few yards. 2nd and 7. And very interesting play calling from Louisiana, winding down a lot of the clock here. But, you still have 6 minutes. Time is on your side.
I actually kind of like it. Very confident play call here. They're not in a rush. They know they got a lot of time. They know that they only need a field goal. They don't need to get into the end zone to take the lead.
Handoff to Streeter once again, and Streeter gets blown up in the backfield. Gonna bring up 3rd and 7. The Toros defense still holding as strong as ever. Catherine Horrell on the tackle.
Well, if it's not one Horrell, it's the other, right? We've seen a lot of Horrells in this game making big plays. But, man, Jack, this seesaw between the offenses and the defenses back and forth got me woozy.
It's going to be a throw over the middle, and for once, the Louisiana Revolution able to get something to work deep, and Mike Twinscrew gets, I think, his first deep reception on the day.
Yeah, that hasn't been for a lack of trying, as Pickler has really tried to find Twinscrew over and over again deep down the field. And, of course, he finds them, and he completes it here late here in the 4th quarter, down 2 points in clutch time. Twinscrew turns it on and brings it in.
5 minutes remaining in this ball game. Pickler going under center. Handoff to Streeter once again. Streeter gets blown up in the backfield, can bring up 2nd down and 10. 98 yards for Streeter. He gains just 2 more. He's over the century mark.
We've talked a lot about Horrell on this linebacker core. We've talked about E.K. Vincent on this Toros linebacker core. We haven't said the name J.L. Browning much, but makes a terrific play right there.
Second and 10 once more. Handoff to Streeter. He's got those 2 yards. I'm going to bring up 3rd and 8.
And continuing to stay patient here, but now a critical play here in this game. 3rd and 8. You're not quite in field goal range. This could be literally the play that decides this game, Jack.
3rd down and 8. 2 wide to the top, 1 wide to the bottom for the Revolution. 3 wide, sorry. It's going to be a short drop from Pickler. It's going to be picked off! And the Toros got some men to defend him. They tried to go for all, and they got less than nothing.
Wow, the play that turns this game on its head. It's an interception by Stone. He reads it the entire way. Pickler had all day to find his open target, picked a poor one, and now Fort Worth, with the 2-point lead, can try and salt away with this game with Jason Williams.
Yep. But mind you, Louisiana still has all 3 of those timeouts to work with, so they can stop what could be an onslaught here. Cameron Curtis throwing it short.
Wow.
Going to be stopped with only a 4-yard gain.
Toro showing a lot of confidence in their young quarterback. I mean, allowing him here in this situation with a designed pass play. Like I mentioned, I mean, I'd be trying to salt this game away with Jason Williams, and let's run that clock and let's get these timeouts out of the hands of Louisiana. They may feel it's a little bit too early to do that.
Handoff once again to Williams, and Williams is gonna get the first down. And now for Louisiana, the time has gone from on their side to against them. 3 minutes remaining. They have all 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning, but they have to get the stop here, or may as well be game over.
I mean, it just makes sense, Jack. You got a guy like Jason Williams who was made for this moment.
The Toros bleeding out the clock. Handed off once again to Williams, and Williams gains only about 4 yards. And that should bring us to the 2-minute warning here in Louisiana. Actually, no, that was Chris Komisak. Sorry.
Yeah, and we saw them try to do that near the goal line. It didn't work out this time. It does gain them 4 yards. And as you mentioned, they should run this clock all the way to the 2-minute warning. You never know.
Cameron Curtis making some adjustments at the line, but that might just be to kill clock at this point. And that will bring us to the 2-minute warning. Louisiana, their defense has stood up for them all game long in the times that matter. Can they do it now and give their offense one final gasp for life? Second and 6. They get the first down. It's borderline game over. Handoff to Williams, and Williams is going to take it to the outside, and they're going to force Louisiana to burn the first of their timeouts.
Yeah, it's going to be important here for Fort Worth to get this first down. You know, it's going to absorb the other 2 timeouts and really put them in an advantageous position to win this game. If they get stopped, Louisiana, Pickler, and Reggie Streeter an opportunity to win it with a field goal.
Going to be a handoff to Williams, and Williams gets the first down. That should be the dagger in the ball game.
Well, I wouldn't be so quick. I mean, obviously, Louisiana here cannot allow another first down. They just absolutely cannot do so. But I'm a commentator. I don't do math very well. So according to my math, there's still going to be time left on the clock with this extra timeout. They could possibly have some time left. I don't know. Jack, what do you think? Get the calculator out. What are we looking at here?
Look, I'm not a math major here. Okay, I'm a humanities guys. They hand it off to Williams again. Williams going to gain about a yard, and it's going to burn the final one of Louisiana's timeouts. Okay, so it's about 40 seconds.
Oh Lord, I don't want to do math on air.
There should be
terrible.
There probably should be about enough time for one play for Louisiana, unless, of course, Fort Worth gets the first down. And Fort Worth already coming out in victory formation.
Why not? I mean, you could literally run the ball here, try to get that first down, absolutely lock it away, but you're going to squirrel off so much time here that I think it's just going to be, like you mentioned, maybe a kickoff return to try and win it. Maybe a deep pass by Pickler. We'll see.
Maybe. Depends on how much time they have.
And how quickly they snap it.
Now it's 3rd and 10. Yes.
But you know what? This is a fitting end, Jack, to this game. A defensive battle. I was expecting some offensive fireworks here in the second half. We didn't really get that, although Cameron Curtis there with the great, terrific throw, really to number 44 for 44 yards, actually was the play on offense that really changed the game here. And as we're seeing, yeah, there is going to be some time left on this clock, an opportunity here for a possible kick return, a great kick return here, not even to the end zone, just a great kick return could put them in field goal range.
Yeah, they're going to have about 30 seconds, give or take, and they're going to have to either get, as you said, a really good kick return, or they're going to have to just bomb it deep, and that has not worked out for them today. High punt, going to be right in the middle. Fair caught at the 15-yard line.
And now it's a matter of strategy. But look, although that deep pass hasn't worked much all night, I can only really think of one or two instances. It only has to happen once here. And again, it doesn't have to be in the end zone, but it does have to stop the clock. So it needs to be out of bounds because there are no timeouts left. So even if you hit a deep one here, you gotta run down the field and try to spike it.
And that's what we're going to try for. First off, throw, caught, takes them up to the 30. They got to run back. They got to spike the ball. And Pickler taking a lot of time off the clock. He's going to spike it with 13 seconds remaining. Had he gotten to the line a little bit quicker, maybe there'd be about 16 seconds.
And I'm going to tell you, there are no real plays in the playbook for this kind of situation outside of trying to bomb it. And I just think it's too far for Pickler, even though he has a very powerful arm. Maybe the strongest here in the SFL. We just don't typically see quarterbacks try that from this distance. So they're going to continue to try to peck at some of these yards. They've got to throw it, though, towards the out-of-bound marker.
Now 13 seconds remaining. Very deep drop by Pickler. Pickler going to do just that, and it's going to be incomplete. Now, at this point, it seems to be that the Revolution are just going to try and throw it deep towards the sidelines no matter what. Because really, you don't have enough time, even if you get like a moderate throw to the outside, to really go run another play and maybe try and set up a field goal. You don't really you just don't have the time.
It's all about stopping that clock. So anything in the middle of the field they need to avoid.
And they're going to come out in the Hail Mary formation. Pickler throwing it to the sidelines, and that's ball game. Game over. The Toros with the pick. And that's going to seal the deal. Aiden Davis, his second interception on the day, and it's going to win the Toros this defensive struggle.
And it's almost not fair there, Aiden Davis, knowing they want to go deep, knowing that they want to go to one of their top targets. That's probably the easiest interception he's had in his career. But two in this game, and he has locked it down. And once again, Fort Worth comes into Louisiana and pulls out a win. Let's not forget, this is a team that only won 2 of their 7 away games last season, but one of those was right here in Stack Up Stadium. Now they've got dose, my friend. Congratulations.
They got 2 wins, Stack Up Stadium, both of them on basically the last play of the game.
Right.
And the Toros score their first win of the year. Meanwhile, Louisiana falls to 0-2. You know, these two teams, it was a defensive struggle. Neither team broke 250 yards of total offense. And yeah, that's really the best way to describe it.
And what a great job the Toros defense on the Revolution's offense. Let's not forget, coming into this game, the Revolution had the number 1 passing offense in the league, throwing for over 400 yards in a loss to Vancouver. So they really nearly cut that in half. The Toros defense did, and also came away with a whopping 4 turnovers. So, if we could give the MVP award to the defense, I think we should, because they just came and played lights out. Both of these defenses really played really well in this game. As you mentioned, it was a absolute defensive battle and back and forth, and these offenses would show spurts of greatness and then get shut down over and over again. But if you love defense, this is your game of the year.
Yeah, and they got 9 tackles for loss against Reddy Streeter. That is something that very few other teams can even claim to have done at some point or another. But the Toros were able to do it, and they were able to take away the win. 9-7, the final in this nail-biting defensive matchup. Again, as we said, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, like the old Big Ten style is what we got here today. And Robert Garrett Jr. wins Player of the Game, the tight end, getting shown the love, the only receiver with over 100 yards on the day.
And his connection with that rookie is starting to grow and grow and grow, and it was a big part of this big win.
Absolutely, and from all of us here at the SFL Network, I'm Jack Brown, alongside Steve Mullinax, Mark Lopez in the Stats Truck, making us look way smarter. We say so long and have a wonderful evening.